new advancements in hair loss? How are they making a difference in treatment options? Today, we're so fortunate. We are actually joined by Dr. Muala, who is a distinguished expert in the field of hair restoration. Dr. Muala also has successfully treated patients dealing with many various aspects of hair loss, including those affected by weight loss, hormone, and hormone deficiencies, or too many hormones, right? As we all know, and we've talked about it many times in our episodes about over testosterone. Also, differing forms of emotional aspects of hair loss. How does that really affect, right, you and your loved ones? And so we're fortunate to have Dr. Muala jump into these questions and help us understand a little bit about the emotional aspect of how that hair loss really affects men and women and those in and out and around our lives. One of the most exciting things I learned when I was, appreciating what your gifts are and all of the advancements that you've brought to the hair loss industry is that you really are cutting edge and you like to kind of step up and go above and beyond. So, now that we know we have this emotional issue that's going on, what are some of the latest advancements and the most innovative solutions for men and women with hair loss? And as we move in, to 2024.
Yeah, it's a great time to be involved in this field. We have many advancements. One is, at the very basic level, the way I always view it is like if your scalp is a lawn, the true story of the hair you see on the surface is happening underneath that lawn. So how fertile that lawn is, how healthy, how much nutrition it's getting, how much blood flow it's getting, what the hormone impacts are at the level of the follicle that makes the hair is all very important. And we live in an exciting time where we can identify at the molecular level what's happening in that for what's needed for hair to grow and stay strong, vibrant, shiny, etc. So when I first started doing this several years ago, it was a learning curve because they don't teach this in med school and you don't get it in residency. There has to be an interest in it. And I learned from my patients as I went along how important it is. So initially, what was available was the traditional, like if you're a guy, you take finasteride, it blocks the effect of testosterone on the scalp. And then, yes, you could have sexual side effects, but we'll deal with it then. So it wasn't a very fulfilling party line to give someone. For women, it was more like, let's check your thyroid. You're probably under a lot of stress, all these vague explanations for what's happening that you really couldn't do anything about unless you had you were lucky and the person was really hypothyroid with low thyroid and you replace their thyroid. Most people don't fit that black and white category. Now we look at a scene where we have a lot of things under our command. We can choose from different modalities, and that's the important thing for my patients. I use different modalities. It's not just one. For example, one, you got to get the right nutrition. So there are supplements out there everywhere you go. People are trying to push supplement after supplement and it gets confusing. So I think of the supplements out there, I like Capillus's Nourish. Now we changed the name to the growth supplement, but there is Nutrafol also. I don't like Nutrafol for women because it blocks dihydrotestosterone, and Capillus's supplement does not. So for women that are of childbearing age, that can have an effect on the embryo. But the idea is once you have the right nourishment and supplement, that gives you the building blocks so the follicle can make, hair. And we've studied this at the molecular level. And there are studies out there that show, which supplements work well, which do not, which, can have a positive effect. So now we've given the building block to the factory in the scalp at the molecular level to make, hair. For example, Capillus supplement, the keratin gets absorbed in the stomach, into the bloodstream, and this has been shown academically, reaching the scalp, skin, nails, it improves texture, hair, etc. So that's why I like to use those type of things. The second thing is you got to wake up the follicle so that it will use those building blocks to make hair. So before, we really didn't have many choices. Now you have a microneedling, which you can do in the clinic. There are some home microneedling devices. Capillus, for example, makes one. There are other microneedling devices that a person can also get, and you can read the reviews and see what people are saying about them. What that does is that physical trauma, even though it doesn't hurt, but that physical interaction with the scalp, your body views it as an injury and wakes up the growth factors that then can go to the follicle and help it use those building blocks we talked about earlier to make hair. So that's modality number two, some sort of physical modality.
Right.
Modality number three are all your energy type of modalities, which are your caps, lasers, red light, etc. Now, they come in two categories. Some of them combine lasers, which is one particular energy level, one wavelength. Some of them have LED with laser, which means that the LED is several wavelengths, which includes the wavelength that is helpful for follicles, plus lasers, which are focused wavelengths at the nanometers or the length that we need to stimulate the follicle, cause it to vibrate, and wake up and make more hair. So that's modality number three. Other techniques in the clinic that have been amazing and life changing are like platelet rich plasma based techniques where we draw your blood in the clinic, spin it down, take the platelet and growth factor portion of it, reintroduce it into the scalp, and that sets your follicles in a couple of months vibrant, awake, and reversing time. So the idea is we want to do everything to keep the scalp fertile, wake up, produce hair, and make sure that it gets what it needs. And for those patients that have too much testosterone in their scalp, okay, and it could be men or women, there are ways to deal with that with DHT blockers. It's called dihydrotestosterone. And that's another level, it's individualized for the patient. But all these advancements that we have were really very difficult to reach and very difficult to do at home. Now there are many companies that are making laser caps that are, or laser sort of devices that can be used at home. Uh, there are fans and criticisms of each and every device out there because we're all human and we're not all cookie cutter. Okay, but I mainly use in my clinic mostly Capillus and sometimes I restore. Most people like Capillus, the convenience, so I've been lucky with that and fortunate in my interaction with the company. So yeah, and some people are using stem cells, stem cell products, stem cell based products. Those you have to be careful, figure out, make sure it's a reputable clinic like, yours, like, so that that it's not some knockoff from a distant land that's not inspected and not safe. When done correctly, it does great results.
Exactly. So, oh, terrific. So you've given the listener, as you said, 4 to 5 different modalities here of treatment. What I think that's so important that we share, and I know you and I have spoke about this before, is the combination approach, right? So one of the reasons I think that, the consumer gets so confused online is that they're reading reviews that'll be on a Capillus cap, a laser cap, an eye grow, an eye restore, and somebody will say, oh, this didn't work. It was such a waste, right? Well, utilizing one modality to change, halt, or restore a genetic predisposition is never going to work. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like telling somebody, "Oh, you can go run a marathon in 3 months and all you need to do is drink more water." Well, no,
absolutely.
you're never gonna
Absolutely.
get there. right? So
Uh,
these therapies have to be directed by a hair loss specialist, a trichologist, an MD, a physician who truly understands what's going on below that lawn surface, as you called it, right into that root core, so that we know what's the cause. Okay, fine. So if it is genetic, right, which one of these four modalities are the right modalities to use? And it could be all four.
right. So I just want to say one thing. The bottom line, and you alluded to this right now, when a patient is talking to me or you or whatever, they have to realize one thing. Okay, we're not business people or merchants selling a device or a product. That's the role of a company. What we're doing is offering a solution, a treatment plan. The treatment plan includes whatever your treating provider thinks is going to be best for you. Okay, so keep that in mind. So when people sometimes start comparing, well, this one has 310 diodes, yours has 272. It's not the 30 diodes that are going to give you a result. It's the commitment of your provider to reaching your goal and help you get there that's going to help you do that. Okay, so all listeners and patients should look for a partner that helps them deliver a solution, not a product or this supplement has 2 milligrams more of this and 2 milligrams more of that. That's not the point. And back to your question about the multiple modalities. Okay, the important thing is I'm a believer in the multiple approach because when you need that, every single person, okay, has, even if they have a genetic predisposition. So let's say you're genetically predisposed to have heart disease, your father had a heart attack, your grandfather had a heart attack, et cetera, et cetera. Does that mean I give up and throw it away and just say I'm just waiting for my heart attack? You try to do things to There's something called epigenetics, and I did a master's in molecular biotechnology and genetic engineering. So genetics is not as black and white as people think. So our genetics is our map, our roadmap. So imagine a building, an architect designs the building where the rooms are, where the bathrooms are, where the pipes are, where the electricity is. But what you do inside that building is up to you. What you put on the wall, what you clean it with, what materials, what furniture you get. And that's epigenetics, the things that can combat and work with your genetics. So if you know you're predisposed to hair loss because everyone in your family is balding, et cetera, that's more an onus on you to get started earlier to make sure that you have healthy nutrition, a healthy lifestyle. You get checkups regularly. You make sure that you combat, because what is the genetics? When we say the genetics of hair loss, to not confuse everyone, we're talking about the follicles are very sensitive to the level of hormones in your body, and they get the hair into the stage where it's going to be shed. Okay. So the way you combat that is you don't want the hair to be at that stage where it wants to lose that hair. You want to get it longer, producing hair longer. And the way you do that, you increase blood flow, oxygen, nutrients, all delivered to the scalp, and make sure that it's fertile and receptive to growth. And that's what we're talking about with so it doesn't matter if you're genetically predisposed to androgenetic alopecia, et cetera, you can preserve your hair longer by making sure that the genetics is fighting a losing battle, because it's counting on you being less healthy at that point in your life, less nutrients, and then it flourishes, the genetic component. And you can reverse that. Look how many nowadays you look around you, you go to the gym, you see people in their 70s, 80s, and you're like, wow, how is he doing that? And so, don't overplay the role of genetics as a done deal and I give up.
that is probably one of the most important messages that we try to stress is that, somebody comes in and says, well, I mean, I know the writing's on the wall, but, I'm only 16 if it's a guy, or I'm only 18 if I'm a guy, but I mean, it's one thing if I'm 60 and my hair starts to slow down and starts to thin, right? That's what my dad looks like, or that's what my brother looks like, or my uncle. But I encourage everyone to think about it differently. I mean, yes, now's the time to start, but don't think just because that's what you see, 40 years from now, that that's where you need to be. The
Right.
advancements, and as you mentioned, Dr. Muala, the advancements just in the last 5 to 10 years of hair restoration and hair preservation have come further than they did the 50 years before. I mean,
Absolutely.
so there's so much excitement and there's so much opportunity. The biggest thing is, I think, is just making sure that you have that supported provider, and a provider who truly has your hair growth at the best interest, and making sure that they have offered you a complete solution. And not everybody understands that a complete solution is going to take anywhere from 90 days to 12 months before you see improvement. I mean, this is a long, slow process.
Yes, yes, it's a very just like it creeped up on you. It takes the hair grows a few millimeters a month. It's not that you're gonna, have a need to, put it away and cut it and just because you started a program. That's why for all my patients, by the way, I never, sell them a cap or a supplement. I tell them, look, this is what you need, and this is all included with your cap that you're getting. I never, give them a breakdown of, like, for example, hey, if you want this, I encourage you to get it. Oh, you don't want to pay for it, don't get it. Then I feel like, I'm contradicting myself. You need this, this, and that, and I give it to them. Now, whether they choose to use it or not is up to them. But since even like the hair products, the shampoos, the leave-in creams, et cetera, I'm a believer in that, and it's part of a solution. And that's why it's exciting to be when you see the results of a person that you offered a solution to. You're always happy. You're always going to win. But if you give them like a supplement in isolation or a cap in isolation, and it doesn't work, they're going to be like what you said earlier. I wasted all my money on this. It didn't work. And they're not seeing the big picture. You got to be patient and look at yourself a year from now, not a day from now. It's like investing. If the stock market goes down today, that doesn't mean that whoever told you to buy that stock was trying to, trick you or make you lose money. But I guarantee you, if you wait a little bit, everything is going to rise with time.
It does. And it's interesting because the female clients that we have, that is the first thing that I will share with them, is that when you start this program and when you start this solution, the nice thing, because you are a female and you have a little bit longer hair, you're going to see improvements in the growing hair and the hair strands on your head first, well before anything takes place, right? In that root
Right.
bulb area of the hair. So I said, if you can just give yourself, markers, right, and dates and assess points. And so that's one of the reasons that we bring clients in at sometimes every 60 days, sometimes every quarter, and sometimes even every 30 days when we start, because we want to make sure that we empower them, give them the tools that they need, just exactly like what you're saying, and provide that full end-to-end solution and help coach them. Because at the end of the day, it gets to a certain point and then you go, oh my gosh, this is so hard. This is so cumbersome, right?
And
But it works.
and and one more thing for your patients and your listeners and my patients and everyone. One thing you got to keep in mind, and this is very tricky when you're the provider, okay? Because one of the signs of a successful treatment plan is you'll actually lose hair at the beginning, okay? And many people freak out, when they see, and you're not losing hair, and I'll clarify now. So your hair is in different stages. Okay. So when it's in the telogen stage, for example, and getting ready to, the mature stage, and the hair is hanging out, and that's the hair that we mostly see. Okay. What's happening is when that follicle that made that hair is starting to die, you're not seeing that beneath the scalp. So when your clinic or my clinic intervenes and gives a treatment plan, that follicle wakes up. When that follicle wakes up, what it wants to do is get rid of that old hair that's destined to fall off anyway in the next few months or years, and it makes a new one. But many people will say, I'm shedding. The cap is causing me to shed. The supplement is causing me to shed. It's not. If you just hang on, I promise you, within a few short months, you will see the difference, because every single complaint you had about one hair being shed is one hair being made from scratch in a healthy way. So be patient and trust the solution, not a commodity like I bought this and this and that. We're committed to your success, no matter who your hair restoration expert is. They want to see, because if you don't succeed, they don't succeed. They want you to be successful.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh, this has been just such a wealth of information, Dr. Muala, for the listener, for you, and for me, because we've gotten to learn a little bit more about each other's practices during this. So it's been very exciting. So as we wrap up, I think we've talked about so much, but 3 takeaways for this listener. What would you give them and share with them to say, look, here's a good basis point to start, or here's a good place to consider, what to do about your hair loss and how to excite your hair growth?
Number one, if it's bothering you or you're thinking about it, you have a point. Don't let anyone convince you anything else. Number two, if you have questions about this and would like to know what can be done for you, trust an expert. Talk to someone like us so we can discuss with you what your choices are honestly. We're not selling devices a la carte. We're trying to find a solution that's customized for you and what your needs are, what your situation is. And number three, nature exists, but so do we. And our success as humans have been our ability to deal with nature on our terms. So don't accept anything as a foregone conclusion. This is a very exciting time for us to be healthy, aging well. We have many tools at our disposal, and we can share all that with you. Just make sure, if it bothers you, get an expert consult and trust in their expertise, because truly your success is their success and they're committed to your success.
Oh, beautifully said. Thank you so much, Dr. Muala. And we will be adding information about how to reach you and your clinic. Also, your website as well on our show notes. So everyone stay tuned. And again, as always, when you're listening to Hair Loss, Restore Your Roots and Confidence, we want you to have an amazing hair day. So until next time, take care. Bye-bye.